The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ. Please be seated. God and the church and I all agree that our number one priority for you is that you would know Jesus. Not just to know about him, but to know him personally, with all of his grace and all of his glory. And to help that happen, God does everything he's ever done to demonstrate to us his presence and his power and his love. And the church and I do everything we do to show you Jesus. We read out loud lots of Bible. We build buildings with architecture that take our eyes heavenward. We have art, and we have a calendar that takes us through the birth and the life and the death and the resurrection and the ascension and the teaching of Jesus. We follow a lectionary that has us hear the most important parts of the Scriptures in a 3-year rotation of Bible lessons. And all of those elements converge today to focus on Jesus, our Good Shepherd. Now, according to the liturgical calendar, today is the 4th Sunday of Easter, which is always Good Shepherd Sunday every year. The lectionary has Jesus saying, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. I give them eternal life and they shall never perish. No one can snatch them out of my hand." And the art in our architecture offers us a sweet picture of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, and that would with his sheep, and that would be us. And the Good Shepherd window that's over here over the choir area, and that all of you can see it. If you sit over here in the transept, you can see it. But those of you back there, you have to kind of poke around the corner if you want to see it. But that Good Shepherd window was given to us by Lewis and Betty Sue Chatham. Lewis has gone home to be with the Lord, but Betty Sue watches us every Sunday online in her home in Milton, Florida. Hey, Betty Sue, we love and miss you. Thank you for the window. And they gave that window in memory of their son Randolph, who died much too soon. Now, you see it every week when you come up for communion, but let's take a closer look at it and discover what this window shows us about our Good Shepherd. Now, first of all, Jesus is just like us. Now, wait a minute, you say. He's wearing robes, he's barefooted, he's got a beard, he's got long hair. You look around the room, nobody here has all of those. Some of us have some of that, but nobody has all of those. Well, that's because you're walking around in the 21st century. If you were walking around in Israel 2,000 years ago, every guy you saw would look just like that. Jesus is just like us. And though Jesus is God, he did not consider his godness something to hang on to. Instead, he emptied himself of his glory and his power, and he came to earth as that baby in Bethlehem. He was born into a poor family. He grew up just like all of us, experienced all of life just like us, which is why he understands our hopes and our hurts, our hungers and our hormones. He knows our faith, and he understands our fears. That's why Jesus is so patient and merciful. He knows how hard it is to be human. Jesus, our Good Shepherd, is just like us, except without sin. And as a Good Shepherd does, he gathers his sheep around him. Now, we think it's sweet when Jesus calls us the sheep of his pasture and the flock of his hand, and that's only because none of us have ever spent much time around sheep. Sheep are dirty animals that concentrate on only 3 things: food, comfort, and making baby sheep. Sound familiar? And they're not the brightest animals in the barnyard. So in their focus on food, they stick their head down and they nibble and they walk 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 and they nibble and they walk. And the first time they look up, they don't know where they are or where the shepherd is. Which is why the shepherd, the Good Shepherd, keeps them close to him. And as he watches them nibble their way away, he calls them back each by name. In your life, when you're contemplating doing something that you know is wrong, or avoiding something that you know is right, or you're nibbling your way away from God, and you're not paying attention to the possible spiritual, moral, emotional, physical, relational, or financial consequences of what your actions might do. And especially when you start doing it, that squirmy sense of inner discomfort that you feel, that's the Good Shepherd, warning you about the danger and calling you back to himself. Let's listen to and for that voice, because that's what smart sheep do. Now, smart sheep is kind of an oxymoron, but smart sheep stay close to the shepherd and listen to his voice and look to him, which is what those two sheep on the right side are doing. They're looking up at the Good Shepherd. But then there's that third one on the left. Look at his face. He's kind of looking around. There's some greener pasture somewhere than where the shepherd has me right now, and he's not paying any attention at all to the shepherd. Don't be that sheep. Now, of the 4 sheep in the picture, most of them are on their own feet. Jesus wants us to follow him, to stay close to him, to listen to him, to learn from him, but he also wants us to grow up in our faith and hope and love so that we can stand on our own 2 feet as adults and act responsibly and help each other and mentor the younger sheep among us and look after our children and babies, because children and babies get extra attention. Now, though 3 of the sheep are on their feet, the youngest and the weakest are in his arms. Jesus wants us to work out our salvation with fear and trembling and to grow up in him, but he's always with us. He's with us always, even to the end of the age, to pick us up, to carry us when we're weak, and especially when we're babies in our faith, hope, and love. Now, as the picture shows, the Good Shepherd does what Psalm 23 says. He leads us to green pastures and beside still waters. And he puts us where we need to be, when we need to be there, and with everything we need to survive. Now, our shepherd may not give us everything we want, but he always provides everything we need. And he causes all things to work together for the good of us who love him and are called according to his purpose, so that in the end, he gives us eternal life, just as Jesus promised today. Well, back to the picture. He's got a cute little lammy-wammy in one arm, but what's he got in the other hand? That would be the staff, which is what Psalm 23 says. Here, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And so a rod is a club used to whack animals or people that come and try to hurt the sheep. And the staff is the shepherd's crook, called that because of the crooked part here on the end. And like that ox goad last week, these are tools that a shepherd uses to take care of the sheep. Has lots of functions. You use it to count the sheep. Let's see, if you only got few, you can count them on. You say 1, there's 2, there's 3 of them. But if you got more than a few sheep, they all look alike. And they mill around. And you could count the legs and divide by 4. That would be one way to do it. But it's easier to have them parade in front of you, and as they pass under the rod, you count 1, 2, 3, and try not to go to sleep. So the shepherd's staff is that. To count the sheep is used as a fence to say, okay, don't want you to come this way, stay on that side over there. It's used to poke sheep that aren't paying attention, to try to get them back in the game. Or if something comes that wants to hurt the sheep, to poke them and send them away. Or if they fall into a hole or they're going the wrong way, you reach down with the crooked part and draw them back to where you want them to be. This is a tool that the shepherd uses to take care of the sheep. And our good shepherd does all of that same stuff. He counts us to make sure we're still with him. And he comes after us when we stray away. He tries to fence us off from anything that he knows might hurt us. He pokes us when we're not paying attention. And he pokes evil people and things that are trying to get away from, that are trying to come after us. And he pulls us back when we stray, or he pulls us out of messes when we fall in. Now, that's a great picture. But like any picture, it doesn't show everything. So what's missing from this picture? Let's go to the next slide. There we are. What is missing from the picture? Well, that shepherd has only 4 sheep. No shepherd has only 4 sheep. There's lots of other sheep. They're just not in the picture. And Jesus says that earlier in John chapter 10. He says, I have other sheep who are not here now, and I must bring them in also. Now, though we in the Messiah family are all sheep of his pasture, we're not all of Jesus' sheep. There's lots of others, including many who don't even know they're in the flock. And it's up to us to invite them in. Let them know that they're part of his sheep. And it's up to us to make new sheep. Shepherds can't do that. It takes sheep to make new sheep. And it's up to us to reproduce ourselves, our faith and our hope and our love, first in our children and our grandchildren, but also in our family and friends, so that they too can know the Good Shepherd. What else is missing? Predators. Wherever there are sheep, there are always going to be predators who want to steal and eat the sheep. And it's the same with us. There are evil forces and evil people looking to hurt us, to harm us, to steal us, or to eat us if we're not careful. Now, the good news is, as Jesus says today, if we stay close to the Good Shepherd, no one can snatch us out of his hand. And once again, see that sheep on the left who's looking to wander off and be by himself from the rest of the flock? That's when sheep get picked off by predators. Don't be that sheep. That's why I urge us all to be here in person every Sunday, in person if we can, and to plug into the parish somewhere during the week, because that's what's going to protect us from predators. And finally, look at the Good Shepherd's face, especially his eyes. He's not asleep. He's not daydreaming. He's praying for us. He's whispering your name in the Father's ear. And when we nibble our way away from him, he prays for us. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And he calls us back into the flock. On this Good Shepherd Sunday, we remember the Lord is our shepherd. And like the psalm and this picture say, he loves us, he feeds us, he takes care of us, he protects us, and he prays for us. Now, if you're not sure whether or not you're one of the shepherd's sheep yet, today is the great day to say yes to Jesus and join the flock. If you feel like you're a baby in your faith, hope, and love, or you're feeling weak or helpless or hopeless, ask the Good Shepherd to pick you up and carry you in his arms. If life has you scared right now because something or someone is coming after you like a predator, ask the Good Shepherd to use his rod and his staff to comfort you. And if you're stuck in a mess, ask the Good Shepherd to reach out and pull you out, and then choose to stay close to him. And if you're standing up and doing okay in your faith, hope, and love right now, then stay close to the shepherd and look to him like these 2 sheep on the right. But that one on the left, don't be that sheep. Let's stand.